My name's Mary Branson and I'm artist in residence here at the Houses of Parliament, and I'm making a artwork which is a memorial for women's suffrage. When I first started my residency, I was spending my time wandering around the palace, and I was really overwhelmed by the artwork, the floors covered in tiles. There was just artwork everywhere. It's very beautiful, but there wasn't a place for me, and I kept on gravitating to this area again. And also when I was researching the archives, all the activity that happened with the protests with the suffragettes, it was all happening along this corridor, so it was like a corridor of power. I kept on coming back to this space. This is just a site where it felt as though a contemporary piece of art could reside. We're in my studio. It's in the Surrey Hills. The type of artist that I think I am is an installation artist, and predominantly I work in light. It's very much about the space, and it's a balance, and it's the way that the light and the architecture and the people that are actually in the space and how they use it, all of those factors together makes a decision for me about how I create an installation with light. And I am a feminist. I'm an artist and I'm a feminist. And I don't shy away from making artwork that celebrates women. I needed to make a piece of work that was contemporary but also reflected the history within the building and not jar. So I wanted something that could exist for the future and be timeless in a way. So glass, I think, is timeless if it's done in the right way. I've spent a whole year being with incredible people, incredible women, and witnessing their stories and absorbing them and wanting to make a piece of work that reflects that.
So this project really started in 2014. The Works of Art Committee had been collecting suffrage memorabilia but felt that they really wanted to mark women's suffrage in a more significant way. So they advertised for an artist in residence to come and research what might be possible for a permanent artwork. Mary Branson applied and was eventually selected. Here we are in the original Act Room in the Victoria Tower in the Palace of Westminster, and this is where every Act of Parliament passed since 1497 is stored. Physically, what we're looking at is the end of a very, very long roll made up of individual bits of parchment stitched together, written on by hand with an ink pen. The whole Act of Parliament is then rolled up and put here and to be stored. So the artwork which Mary has designed, which is called New Dawn, is visually very similar to what we see here. She's used glass, blown glass, to make individual scrolls of all different sizes, exactly as we see here on the shelf, representing all the different women's organisations who campaigned for the vote. You can see how the two, both the visual and the meaning behind them, really came together for her.
This is one of the oldest parts of the Palace of Westminster and has been an entrance here. Indeed, there was a chapel here where a lot of business used to take place years ago, and we felt that this was the appropriate place where the women who tried to get the vote would have come through here in their attempts, which sometimes didn't end very happily, but we did get the vote in the end, and they would have come through this entrance.
Mary had a track record in an area where we just don't have any works of art. She's an installation artist. She works with steel and glass and light, and we thought that this place could do with a bit of modern art, and so that was a key part of the consideration.
No one had noticed that space before because it's dark, and as a light installation artist it's perfect. It was perfect because I knew that I always wanted to bring light into the building. It's been waiting for a piece of artwork. So today we're doing the prototype. It's all the ideas that we've been putting together for the last 6 months. Having a look today about the scale, the light levels, our ideas, do they actually really work in this space? So it's a bit I'm feeling quite nervous today about that.
The glass panels themselves are unique. Each one will vary slightly, the colour intensity will vary, and therefore the amount of light each one requires will vary. As individual pieces of glass, they all look fantastic, but when you actually set them up there, right high above your head in line, it's magical. Mary has some light sheets, which are acrylic discs behind each one of the 168 glass panels, and it's my job to get those to turn on at the time Mary wants them to turn on, which, unlike most lighting challenges, has actually been determined by the changing of the tide.
The finished effect that I'm hoping to get with the light is that at high tide the intensity of the artwork will be really strong and brighter, and then as the tide decreases then the light levels will decrease as well.
The tide is a reoccurring icon of suffrage literature posters. They wanted the tide of change. The anti-suffragists were fighting against the tide of change. So the tide is the outside world. The tide will bring the outside world into Parliament as it's integral to this artwork. And of course it also reminds Parliament of all the people, the country that's outside that they're representing, and the ongoing campaigns for change. We're still looking for change in all sorts of areas, and that the tide will provide that link to contemporary life.